Chris Brown from New York sent us this piece of Glossy Buckthorn root, and we're going to turn it. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, as we like to say here at Shady Acres Wood Shop. Howdy! But it's going to take a little trimming up, I think, to get it to where we can mount it on the lathe. I'll show you what I mean. The piece is about 8 to 10 inches depending on how you measure it, and no matter which way you measure it, it's just an odd shape, typical of a root. And I'm often asked, well, how would you even go about mounting that up? What are you thinking? How do you determine how to mount it up? Well, I wish I had a good answer. I don't think there is a good answer in a lot of cases. Sometimes there is. Sometimes there's a clear top and bottom and sides, and you know, make it a spindle turning or make it a bowl turning. Sometimes there's a clear answer. In this case, not really. You could mount a faceplate on there, right there. Make this the bottom and start turning. It's going to turn into something. That's all I can tell you. It's going to turn into something. I don't know what. You don't know what. We don't know what. Nobody knows what. It will turn into something. I guess if this was going to be the top and if that was going to be the bottom, I'd probably shoot for a vase. But you wouldn't have to. You could round it up this way and make a bowl out of it. What I'm going to do, because I'm more of a bowl turner than anything, I'm going to take it over, set it on the bandsaw table right on that flat spot. I'm going to trim this off a little bit so that I've got a flat spot for my woodworm screw and chuck jaws to set against. I'm also going to trim this side, get rid of all these little hairy roots and whatnot, and get a flat spot for my live center. So this will be the top of a bowl. That'll be the bottom of a bowl. Other than that, I don't have a clue how it's going to turn out. I just don't know. But it will turn out to be something. I can guarantee you that, even if it's firewood. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll meet you over here at the lathe. We'll get it mounted up. I was going to go with the woodworm screw, but decided on this faceplate ring instead. This has a dovetail recess on it right here, which matches up with the dovetail on the outside of my chuck jaws. So I can just place this over that, open the chuck jaws into that recess, and that'll give us a nice firm grip. And the only advantage here over a faceplate is I don't have to take the chuck off, which to me is a huge advantage. Then we'll bring up the tailstock, bring up the tool rest, spin the piece up and see what kind of speed we can get. I'm sure it's out of balance. Looks like the best we can do is about 500 RPM. I'm going to use a 5/8 inch bowl gouge. I'm going to wear a glove, mask, and face shield on. Well, I decided to start working on this corner first, so I moved my tool rest. Also, I did a lot of digging with a screwdriver, getting a lot of dirt and mud and crud out of here. There are rocks in here. I pulled out a couple. There's definitely 2 up here on the top side that are buried too deep to dig out, and we'll probably run across others. And you know, I did a root not too long ago that had some rocks in it, and there was a lot of questions about, well, how did you handle those? Well, I didn't do anything. I didn't as I was turning, I didn't take them into account, except for one in that instance. I actually saw one while I was working on the inside of the bowl, so I stopped and popped it out of there. But others, I'm sure, went flying, no doubt about it. They didn't hurt me because I don't stand in line. I don't stand over here, I stand back here. So anything that's going flying is flying parallel with this. I'm not scared. I don't want you to be scared. Nobody's going to get hurt here. It's all fine and dandy. Just something for you to be aware of. I'm hoping that one rock will stick with us. Like I say, it's right here. It'll probably come out when we cut the top side of the bowl. Here I am rattling on again. I do have to say something. You know, I am so fortunate to have viewers like you guys. Such generous viewers that send along wood that I've never seen before, I've never even heard of. Who ever heard of Glossy Buckthorn? Lots of other kinds of wood that I've just never seen in my life. And my generous viewers send me these samples for my audience to watch be turned. I mean, we're all getting an education here, and how wonderful is that? Speaking of viewers, I have the best, and I appreciate you guys so much. You have no idea. You are so important to me. You are why I get out of bed every day. And I just want you to know that. And I'm going to turn the camera off now and clear my eyes up, and we'll get to turning. Don't forget to stop often when you're doing something like this. See if there's any design opportunities. You might want to save this, you know. I haven't gone quite far enough here yet to know. But what I am going to do is move over here to the bottom, because I can see by the time I put a tenon on here, I'm not going to have any place for a base for this bowl to set on. So I think I'm going to have to take off about a ½ inch here to where I get to this, so that I'll have something to set on. There's nothing here. So I need to go towards the top about a ½ inch, maybe 5/8 of an inch. And we'll mark out for a tenon. I know, I can't see it either. Now we can. But look at those shavings. Look at all that orange in there. Cool one. And now we have a base everywhere except right here. That's okay. We can live with that. Now I'm going to use this diamond point tool to square up the sides of the tenon. And that is good. Now we'll move over to the side here for the profile. Don't forget to stop often, buddy. Okay. Boy, it's going to be nice, huh? I measured the moisture content. It seemed to be between 12 and 20%. Chris said it's been down for a couple of years, so I would have expected it to be more or less dry. Well, it's just so interesting. I could just about stop now, but I want to go a little further. I want to get this up a little bit higher if I can. And that's full of sand right there, I think. I think that's sand. Yep. I just sharpened up before I moved over here to the side. And it needs sharpening again. There went a little rock. Maybe I'll do this for a few minutes. I'll bring you back here in a couple minutes. Now I just want to do a little shear scraping. Okay, I think we're done. Let me show you how deep that hole goes that I had to do. Cleaning the dirt and sand out of there. About 1.5 inches. So that's going to get to the inside of the bowl. So we're going to have a hole. That's the least of our concerns. Time for sanding. It's the next day. I spent a little time last night cleaning out more crud. I found another dirt pocket, and then I came out today and found even more. So I've been digging the dirt. So I'm going to finally get to sanding. I'm going to start with my Sandoflex. This is 180 grit. I'm going to sand all of the bark inclusions and the bark along the top and whatever isn't turned that I can reach from here. I'll probably have to do more from the top side. And then I will switch to my 2-inch disc at 80 grit and work up through 400. And I'll show you what both of those look like as soon as I get my mask on. And I'll be doing more of that. And then with the lathe spinning at about 350 in reverse. And that's pretty easy. I think this is going to be a pretty spectacular piece. I like it so far. It's got some nice grain in it, certainly some nice color. And when we get some finish on the bark and on here, the contrast is going to be spectacular as well. So I'm pretty happy, but it is going to take some time sanding. I'll bring you back here in a bit and we'll put some, I think, sanding sealer on there. And then we'll go with shellac for a final finish. See you in a bit. Sanding was a bit of a problem, all right. But look at that. Look at that color and grain. It's all going to be worth it, isn't it? And wait till I get some on the bark to make that contrast. This looks like burl kind of grain in here. There's more of it also. I've turned a few yellow pieces, but I don't know that I've ever turned an orange one. And I'll have to brush a lot of this, of course. So this is going to take some time, and I won't ask you to watch it all. This is what I'll be doing. I'll see you back here in a bit and we'll work on the inside. I'm constantly reminded that not everyone watches every video. I wish you would. Not for me, but because most of your questions are answered in some video or another. I've shown this many times, but I don't show it in every video, just like I don't show all of the sanding because, you know, it's boring. But I'll show it again. People ask me, do you sand between coats? I don't sand between coats. I have sanded between coats, and what I found is the sandpaper gets clogged up with sanding sealer and shellac. Other people do successfully sand it. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but it doesn't work for me. Then I use steel wool. I used steel wool for quite a while, a year or better, but I just didn't like the mess it makes. It just spread steel wool dust all through the air, and I didn't care for that. So finally I went to 3M sanding pads, Scotch Brite sanding pad. And I use a gray one between all coats of sanding sealer and shellac. And I use a white one after the final coat of shellac. And what you can do is you can just, I like to fold it up because of the kinds of pieces I turn. I need a little bit of padding often. So you can just fold it up like that. And you can just go like this, and see over here, that's where it would hurt if you didn't have it folded. So you want to fold it up. And just go back and forth like that. And the same with the white one. Well, what I found is on the inside of a bowl, you'll get swirl marks in the bottom. So I wondered how I could fix that. So then what I did was I took one of the gray ones and I cut a circle out of it, and I did the same with a white one. And now I have a 2-inch disc that I can put on my drill, and it sticks on just like a disc, just like Velcro, just sticks right on there. And now I found what that does it better, it does it faster, and it doesn't leave swirl marks in the bottom of the inside of the bowl. And I did the same thing with a white one. So you might try that if you're having any issues with clogging up sandpaper or using steel wool or whatever. This just works slicker than you know what on a doorknob. Okay, so this is just the first coat of sanding sealer. I'll be putting on another coat after I finish abrading it like I just was. And I'll just go through the steps. 2 coats of sanding sealer, 2 coats of shellac. I'll bring you back. We'll work on the inside. See ya. I've turned the piece around and have the tenon mounted up in the chuck. You can see the rock that I was talking about right here. That's the only one I can see. I'd like to leave it, as I said, but if I leave it, we're going to have some pretty thick walls. Not that that's unusual with my stuff. A lot of times we have thick walls, but I always aim to make them as thin as possible, but sometimes it just is not possible. If I can make them thinner and lose the rock, that's okay. If I have to leave it thick and keep the rock, that's okay. I don't see any other big issues. I told you that this part right here is crucial, and you know, that's a root, I think, or a branch, probably a branch coming up. And sometimes they're not connected everywhere. Sometimes like it goes all the way around here, and maybe only bark is connecting it here. And if that's the case, it won't stay with us if it's just bark. I don't know if it is or not. And over here it kind of looks like the same situation. So I don't know. I got to keep it. I know that much. Even if I have to glue it back on after cut it off, I don't know, but I need it. So we're going to be turning at 670 RPM. My very sharp, freshly sharpened 5/8 inch bowl gouge, mask and face shield on. My nice freshly sharpened bowl gouge is dull as could be. Sharpening up. Well, I did go sharpen up, but I think it's just going to be an ongoing issue. I think that's dirt. Yeah. So I'm going to switch to carbide for a little bit. I can go further with carbide with the tail stock in place because I can go straight in. It's not as fun to watch, but we'll get there, and I'll get back to high-speed steel in a minute. Well, see, I could hear that. That's a rock in that dirt right there. I think there's another one in there too. Okay, well, this isn't any fun to watch. I'll work on this for a minute and I'll be right back. Okay, well, I got 2 rocks out of there. I'm sure it didn't do my carbide any good, but we will continue. Yeah, I guess not. It's dull as could be. Sheesh. Alright, I gotta rotate it. I'll be right back. Alright, where's that rock? It's right there. Oh, I've been rubbing it. It's right here. See it? Can you see it? Right there. So either I gotta pull it out or we're gonna have walls that thick. What's it gonna be? Vote time. I don't know if I can even knock it out of there. Yeah, I can. There it is. Wasn't in there as securely as I thought. Well, that's because I cut most of it away. I gotta find that rock. Hold on. I went ahead and cut away that center section just so that I could get going again. These are the rocks that I've found so far. I don't think there's any more in there. But we have a problem. And it just makes me sick. This is the part that I didn't want to lose. And it wiggles now. The only place it's connected is right here. And right here, but the problem is there's a big hole under this. So as I cut away here, it's only going to be connected here, and I really wanted to thin this down. It's just too thick. Oh gosh, this just makes me sick. I don't want to lose that. I don't know what to do. I guess I'll have to leave it this thick and hope that this is enough to hold it in place, because it's not making contact over here on this other side. There's a little tiny crack that runs all along here. It's not a crack, it's a bark inclusion. There's bark between this big piece and this little piece. So I don't know. I'm just gonna continue on right here, and we're probably gonna lose it. Still turning at 670, 5/8 inch bowl gouge, mask and face shield back on. Yeah, I think we're about there. Well, I feel pretty good about it. If I don't get it any thinner right here, I should just about stop. I'm going to see if I can, I'm going to try some shear scraping. I don't know how that'll work. I'm calling that good. Time for sanding. I still had a few tool marks in here, so I did a little bit of spot sanding. Just like this, with the piece not spinning. And I think I got most of it out. The rest of it should come out. Well, there's hardly anything left, I guess. But anyway, if there's any left, I will get them sanding with the piece spinning. Oh, and I was able to, I don't know if it's going to hold, but I was able to get a little bit of medium CA in this crack right here, which made this a little sturdier. Because here, the only place it's connected is right here, and it's about 1/4 inch thick. does seem to be holding. So that's a good thing. So I'm going to have the piece spinning at 350 RPM, 2-inch sanding disc starting at 80 grit, and I'll show you what that looks like as soon as I get my mask on. Easy peasy. I'll bring it back here in a bit and we'll put some sanding sealer on there. See you in a bit. Well, alrighty then. Let's see what we got. We got some beautiful grain. That's what we got. Sanding was very straightforward. No issues at all. I alternated between forward and reverse. It worked slick. We do have one little punky spot right here. But usually the sanding sealer and then the shellac will harden that up. Boy, that's just pretty. Just pretty. Look at that. That's pretty. And I've covered most of the bark, but there's a little bit that I didn't quite get. Just kind of right along this edge. Glossy Buckthorn. Never heard of it. Ooh. This is going to be one of my better ones, I think. So I'll be doing this for a while. A couple of coats sanding sealer, a couple coats of shellac, just like the outside, which looks spectacular, by the way. So I will bring you back when it's time to take the tenon off. See you in a bit. I've mounted a block of wood up in my chuck. I'm going to place the bowl over that and bring up the tailstock. I still have my center hole there for reference, so I can just drive the live center into that. And that'll help center it on that block of wood. Apply a little pressure. Bring up the tool rest. We'll spin the piece up and see if it's running true. I'll just hold my thumbnail against the edge of the tenon. And sure enough, it's nice and true. Turn the speed up to about 550. I'm going to use a 3/8 inch bowl gouge and commence to removing that tenon. I just want to check for clearance. We have good clearance. I like to leave this area raised up a little bit if I can, so that it's kind of a nice little visual interest. That's pretty small, so I'm going to switch to a swept back bowl gouge so I can get in there closer. Just keep working it away. Now that's quite small, so I want to adjust my tool rest a little bit closer and a little bit higher. The worst thing you can do is get under that little nub, because that'll cause it to pop right out of there. I'm also going to slow the speed down to about 300. I just want to get that as small as I can. Now I'm going to turn the speed down to about 200 RPM, and I'm going to apply the bevel of the gouge against the bottom of the bowl. Right hand on the gouge, left hand on the switch, and when the little nub stops turning, we'll know we're through. Like that. Now I'll just take it over here to the workbench, sand it up, sign it, get it finished, and I'll be right back. Be sure you stick around to the end of the video so you can see the before and after shots of this piece. I'm sure they're quite dramatic. If you'd share the video, that'd be terrific. I'd really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Everyone needs to know what can happen with a root ball. In this case, a glossy buckthorn root ball. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that just beautiful? Beautiful colors, beautiful grain. There's the bottom all finished up. Nice bark inclusion down there. The inside is gorgeous. Love the bark. This looks like burl, doesn't it? And it appears a few places in there. It's just so nice. I just love the piece. I hope you do. Thank you, Chris Brown, for sending this along for all to enjoy. If you like this video, thumbs up please. I'd sure appreciate it. If you're a subscriber, thank you very kindly. I truly appreciate that. If you're not a subscriber, you might consider becoming one. I put out regular videos about one a week, and I'd like to keep in touch. An easy way to subscribe is just click my picture you see there near the end of the video. Your comments are always welcome, and I love reading them. So for now, this is Phil, Shady Acres Woodshop, signing off.